Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to this edition of Interview here on DBS Television. Education is a venture or an enterprise with the aim of handing over to the younger generation values and knowledge safeguarded by the society. It can be formal or informal. In this edition, we are looking at formal education, trying to pinpoint the responsibilities of each of the stakeholders in that enterprise of handing over knowledge to the younger generation. Our guest in this edition is an educationist, Isaac Sunday. He is the Chief Executive Officer of the American Foundation Academy in Douala, Bonaberi, and joining us live from the United States of America. Good afternoon, sir. Thank you for talking to us once more here on Interview.
Good afternoon, Mr. Banashis. It's a pleasure being with you today again.
Much, sir. Thank you for accepting to talk to us. We are looking at issues concerning education, and you are into this venture of handing over knowledge into the younger generation. Now, when we talk about shared responsibility in education, we wanted to find out among stakeholders that are involved in that education process. Let us begin by identifying who are these stakeholders that are involved in the education process that we have in our society.
If we are looking at the various stakeholders who are involved in education, we have to first of all acknowledge that education is kind of an interconnected activity that involves parents, teachers, and students. And each of them plays a significant role to be able to make an academic institution fully successful. So in today's program, we're going to be looking at the part that parents, students, and teachers play to make education what it is.
So much. We are identifying three main stakeholders in the education process: the teachers, the parents, and the students or the pupils themselves, the learners. Now, let us try to look at these responsibilities, beginning with each of the stakeholders. Let us take, for example, the student or the pupils. What are their specific responsibility, or to put it in another way, what is the responsibility of the learner in the education, the teaching learning process that we have in our society?
First of all, for the learners to make education the value that it deserves, first of all, they must be willing to learn. They must be willing to follow instruction. They must be willing to abide into various rules and regulations that govern institution, and they must be willing to submit, to subdue the basic principles that can govern them to be able to excel much better by the end of the year, as their end of year courses are concerned, or the end of year exams are concerned, until the students or the are willing to work hand in glove with the with the teachers and parents. If not, education will not be valuable. Thank you.
All right, we are identifying that the students need to be willing, they need that ability to accept learning, to accept teaching. But let's come back to the reality on the ground. When we look at discipline, indiscipline, coming from the students themselves, you would understand that that willingness is absent. What can we do to these children to understand that they need this willingness to be part of that process in which to hand over knowledge or the values that we have to them in formal education?
That if you don't know where you are going, then you don't know where you are coming from. Parents and teachers, it is also their due responsibility to educate the learners the importance of education, the importance of what they or the students or the learners are out for. When once you make all points clear to them, then will be education. Put in mind that every project is very essential and important if only you educate the benefactor to understand the project, to understand the importance of this project. So it is also the due responsibility of the parents to, first of all, let the students or the learners to understand the importance of education in their day-to-day life. Even once they know, they understand the importance of education, then they will be disciplined enough to know that, to understand. They need to be humble and obtain the knowledge that their instructor, call them the teachers, are willing to dish out to them.
Now, when we come to these learners, is there any age limit? Does age has a factor to play in order to facilitate the process of teaching, learning that we need to have in our school? Is there any age limit that should play here?
Where in that case, we can be looking at the different strategy of educating or of encouraging learners, be it at the level of elementary or primary or secondary level. So because today we will be basing most of our discussion on elementary students or primary schools, I would say the age really counts when it comes to learners in primary. As for secondary, the age also counts, but at the level of universities, the age does not count, because there is a saying that knowledge is valuable and that you never stop learning until you kick the bucket.
Thank you so much. We need to make that distinction clear to understand that at the primary level, these children, they still need to understand the importance of what they are doing, and that is why they have to be guided in that process. And that brings in the role of the parent. Before we touch the educational community, let's bring in the role of the parents here. What is the contribution of the parent in this process?
I want to make this very clear that parents are very excited. Their role is very essential, especially in early primary or in early education, because first of all, the learners themselves, they do not really understand the importance of education. So the parents, it is the responsibility of the parents to step in, support them, educate them, and let them to understand that the beginning, that their early education counts so much, because like we understand that the beginning justify the end. If your child does not start in a good footing as education is concerned, this child is bound to lament at a higher level or to suffer the most in understanding a lot of things that could lead to academic success. So parents should also endeavor to make sure that these children, they see the value, they see the importance of early education, the importance of doing their homeworks, the importance of participating in schools activity, doing what their teachers have asked them to do, to be disciplined in all dimensions in order to achieve a greater academic career or a greater academic journey. So parents play a significant role in shaping up any learner at the early stage of their academic career.
Thank you so much, sir. But let's come back to our parents back home, our parents here in Cameroon, who have a determining role in order to shape, in order to, encourage the children to get into this venture and learn. But I want to find out, is this role tantamount to only paying school fees? What is it beyond paying school fees that we expect a parent to do?
I think the role of parents is far beyond paying school fee, because each parent who is paying school fee at least expect that the child should perform well by the end of the academic semester. So when you're paying the fee, you have to constantly go through the child's lesson note to make sure that this child is attending school. You need to communicate often with the child's teacher and also to the school. If you discover or realize some abnormal behavior coming from your child, you should be able to contact the school, or you should be able to contact the class teacher to make sure that your child is doing well in school. So when it comes beyond paying fee, communication with the school, with your class teacher, know your class teacher, must create that mutual relationship with your class teacher, so with your child class teacher, so that they can easily communicate with you if there is something the class teacher realizes that the child is not doing well. You should be able to dialogue together and put it, and then do a joint initiative in figuring out a better way to resolve it as early as possible. Also, parents should also make sure that their children are respectful and disciplined in school, not only paying the tuition. So I think education, helping children to understand the value of education is way just not only more than just paying their tuition in school. Thank you for that question.
All right, sir. Now you own one of these institutions here in Cameroon. Now, how do you relate with the parents to make sure that you bring them on board to understand that they have a share in that process, not to just come and give the children in school and that is all, abandon it in the school? How do you relate with these parents to make them understand that they are also stakeholders in the process that you are carrying out in molding these future Cameroonians?
We have what we call Parent Teachers Association. That there are a lot of things we discussed there that could help shape the behavior and also encourage the process of their child early academic journey. We have a platform which is the WhatsApp group, that each class has that WhatsApp group to constantly communicate with the parents when their children are either doing well, not doing well, or if their children need some basic guidance or support to excel well in school. We also have like Zoom meeting every month to discuss about the children's progress with the parents. And then by the end of every semester, we have what we call the class council to address factors that did arise during the academic term with the parents. So there's a constant communication between the teachers of American Foundation Academy and the parents, because it takes both their initiative to be able to make education or to shape the educational journey of these learners.
But now, let's come down to realities. Do their contribution, what they contribute, do they have an impact in the policies that are implemented in the running of the school? Because we understand that it is a private institution, and like they say, many people used to think that PTAs function only in government schools, but in a private school, do their contribution count in the policy that is taken in the management or the running of the school, the teaching learning process?
I think that it really counts, and it boils down to every schools or every learning institution policy, as you've mentioned. For instance, we do understand that for a child to learn well, this child, he or she needs to eat. Or for the learners to be able to accomplish a full academic success, they need food. They need to come to school on time. They need a lot of things. And most of these things will not function without the school policy. So if we want to decide whether to have like, let's say to have like a canteen in school where children can eat in order to perform well or not to go home because they're hungry, we will need their parents' attention toward this. We have a transportation policy where students who are like government workers or who go to every day may decide to take the option of using the school bus for their children. Parents, they will need to come in because in order for these children to be successful, they need to be in school on time. Like in my school, the latest time that the last child should enter the gate is 7:30. So we need parents constantly to be able to take these decisions that will help maintain discipline in school and also help these children to accomplish their academic journey. So there's no way that we could function without the presence of the parents, because we constantly work with them hand in glove to make sure that everything moves successfully. Okay, if we make policy that parents are not involved, they will not go to their various homes to prepare their kid to send to school. We will not go to their homes to buy to let them know what these children are missing. Parents are constantly involved when it comes to shaping the early journey of every learners, especially in the elementary school. So the Parent-Teacher Association is not only for government schools. Every institution should be able to have Parent-Teachers Association, because there are a lot of vital things which are being discussed in this, when we have like the PTA the PTA meeting, the PTA gathering, every end of every semester, and by the end of the year, that parents should understand that it is very, very essential for them to work together with the school in order to shape the life of their children to become who they want them to be. So Parent-Teacher Association should not only be for government school. Thank you for that.
But then you are a parent. You understand the hurdles that parents go through. We take the society in which we are, and in an economic city like Douala, where children scarcely see their parents, like they say some. They scarcely see their parents. You leave the house earlier and you will come back the last person, practically late, when children are already sleeping. They just only hear that Papa came back. Now, if you were to talk to these parents, before we take the educational community, if you were to talk to these parents, whom you are one of them, what would you let them understand that this is their value, this is their responsibility that they have to carry? It is not any favor or any kind of assist, call it favor that they are doing to the children. If you were to talk to these parents who are involved, that is, you pay the child's fee, but you are not there to follow up, what would you tell them?
It is very, very simple. Any responsible father or parent that understands the importance of shaping the life of their children, they need to dedicate time. They need to reserve time. They need to create time to make sure that they are into these children's life. It is not just about education, moral value, upbringing, bringing them into God-fearing way. It's really, really the support of the parent. What we type those parents who leave the house at 6 o'clock, go to work, and then they close work at 5:30. They feel like it's a time for them to sit and drink until when the traffic, and then they come home at 9 o'clock. You are not building a successful or a healthy child for your children. You need to be in their life. You need to create that parental connection, that parental relationship between your child. There are some children that sometimes they don't even sleep at home. Their parents will never know, because maybe they live in their rooms, and sometimes the parents are coming home thinking that they are in their room, meanwhile they are not there. So parents should be able to sacrifice time. Life is not just about making money, but it is also about helping to shape the value, to shape the attitude of your child. Parents should at least sacrifice a certain duration of time every week to make sure that they build that relationship, that connection between their children and the parents. Else, your child may become a drug addict at the age of 12, 15 years without you even realize it. You see some of these children that they are on the streets, they call, they cause all types of atrocities. These are children that did not pay so much attention to them when they were growing up. And before they discover them, the street has already taught them the street life. So parents should dedicate time, at least 12 hours every week, to support their children, go over their lesson note, go over their, check with them, check their school progress, and so forth. It is very, very essential. It is very, very imperative that parents should dedicate time. Be it the mother or the father, they should dedicate time. And some parents decide to just throw this to the mother to take care, and say, since some of the mothers are housewife, let's put it that way. In those days, we used to call them housewife. It is their right to take care of everything. No. The father has a significant role to play in shaping up the life of their children, especially the male children. Parents have a significant play. So let us not miss the importance of spending time with children, understanding them and teaching them the core value of education, or the value of social upbringing. Thank you
so much, sir. I like that precision to let parents understand. When we talk of parents, it involves the father and the mother. It should not be as if it is the responsibility of the mother. The mother takes care of the education of the child. It has to do with the parents too. Now, for time constraints, let's look at the other, stakeholder. We are isolating we have been talking about teachers, about parents and the learners. Let's look at the teachers. The teachers are those who mold, they bring down the concepts, the policies that we have, the values and the knowledge, they bring it down to the children. Now, how should this teacher be? When we talk about balance, a teacher who should be psychologically, emotionally, health-wise balanced in order to bring up this, carry out this responsibility. Now, as somebody who is in the field, because I want us to always take from you, since you are there, how do you handle your teachers to make sure that they are balanced in such a way that once they enter the class, they have their mission, which is transmission of knowledge to the children? How do you handle them to make sure that they keep aside every other thing and focus on their duty?
First of all, when we talk about helping the teachers to be able to dish out what they have for the students, we need to understand very well that teachers are basically facilitators. They have to facilitate the child's education. And there is no way a teacher will give out the best that he can do if that teacher is not well compensated in terms of motivation. And also making the institution to have healthy environment. Because what are the various responsibilities of teachers as learning is concerned? Teachers are facilitators, they are guidance, and they are also responsible in classroom management. And the way you manage your class also helps to facilitate learners in understanding the lesson notes and the various lessons. If your classroom is poorly managed, then your learners will also be poorly managed, or their level of understanding knowledge will be very, very difficult. So teachers are like guidance. They are responsible in classroom management, and also they are facilitators. So that's the part of the teachers. But also making sure that the teachers they have a good learning environment to help them facilitate their lesson notes and more of that. And one of the things that we are doing in American Foundation is that we are doing what is called capacity building. Capacity building is a program which is being offered in American Foundation Academy that helps to educate teachers to be able to dot their I's of what was not taught, what they were not taught during their teachers' training, and also with to be able to be current with the current system of education nowadays, since digital education is kind of overshadowing the traditional style of education. So we're giving what is called capacity building training to all our teachers, at least 5 times in academic during the academic semester.
Almost eating us up. But then we understand that when we talk about education as a whole, in every nation, it is the responsibility of the state to make sure that her citizens are educated. For time constraints, we are almost getting out of the studio. What is the government of Cameroon doing in order to assist those who get into this educational venture, because it is their responsibility, but private individuals like you are into it? How is the government assisting it to make it, you know, an easier task for you people?
I think that the government is doing its own part. For instance, I learned that the minister of of secondary education or basic education always give incentives for people who like ship like educational gadgets out of the country coming to Cameroon, and sometimes they really gives a lot of what we call abattement or kind of a discount to clear most of this stuff, which are mostly educational stuff, educational learning material. I think that's one of the things that the government is doing. Apart from that, I think that I always reference myself. The reason why I came and I buried this school was because I was giving back to the nation, and I do not expect government to support me in any way that much, but I just want the government to be able to be flexible with their rules and regulations and make things easy. Encourages us that we are private, private sectors in the domain of education. And, and the good thing about the Cameroon government is that schools do not pay taxes. School is considered a business, but government do not levy taxes to schools, to educations. So I think that's the most essential part that government is also planning to promote, private sectors in the domain of education. Thank you very much.
So much, say, while we're expecting that our producers should indicate to us. Now, what are some of these major challenges that we have when these rules are neglected, are overlapping? We identified 3 stakeholders. What are some of the major challenges that we face out there concerning these shared responsibilities when either any of them neglect them?
It is, of course, very certain that when once rules are bent or they are not followed, both the 3 parties suffers the impact. If children do not have a good home training, it becomes more difficult for the teachers to actually dish out the lessons to them or to be able to facilitate them understand the lessons. It takes the teachers longer than expected to spend time on a single lesson that was supposed to be taught within 1 hour. So parents have a significant role to play in order to facilitate the teachers to accomplish their teaching process. On the side of the teachers, when these children do not do well, parents are bound to spend more money. Either the child is repeating a class or the child is not doing well, and the parents will feel like maybe that child is dull or maybe there's something wrong with the child. So every rule, and if the child is not doing well, it also stresses the teacher. It stresses the parents because they have to redo what was supposed to be done once. They have to redo it. So everybody have a part to play when shaping out the educational career of any learner.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much for accepting to talk to us. Our time is up in this edition of the interview when we are looking at shared responsibilities in education. It is a venture that needs the contribution of everyone. All of us are stakeholders in education. Looking forward to having you in subsequent editions of interview.
Thank you.
And gentlemen, that is all we had time for this edition of interview. We'll be coming back again with another topic that concerns us in the society. If you did not follow us from the beginning, a rebroadcast would be on Tuesday. That will be at exactly 5 p.m. Until we meet again another Friday, have a blessed weekend ahead of us, and Goodbye from all of us here.